You're listening to Rebel Spirituality with me, Sam Goldfinch. Here's the truth. Wisdom doesn't follow rules. So each week we're going to explore what it means to wake up your way so you can live a more peaceful, creative and inspired life no matter your circumstances. It's time to blaze your unique path to truth. Hey Rebel friend. So this week I want to talk about the distinction between safety and security because I think it's an interesting one, and we get caught up in trying to find safety, emotional safety, safety in our psychological experience through security-seeking behaviours. And because we never really get what we're looking for, those security-seeking behaviours become self-reinforcing, and then we are really just yearning for that, the knowing of our safety. So let me put some kind of meat on the bones, if you like, or talk about what I actually mean by that. So Sid Banks has this beautiful quote that you will have heard me say many times. If the only thing that people learn was not to be afraid of their experience, that alone would change the world. And I have heard that. I have said that hundreds of times. I've heard it however many times. And it seems to me like a profoundly important quote. And it's a bold claim, isn't it? If the only thing that we learned was not to be afraid of our experience. Well, it seems to me that in many ways, all around the world, most people, one way or another, are afraid of their experience. They're afraid of their feelings. And it may not necessarily, they may not see that, it may not be clear to them, but think about the mechanics of what usually happens. So something shows up in the body, and maybe it's not even necessarily kind of registered consciously, but there's an experience or a feeling or a tightness or a contraction or whatever the experience in the system might be in the body. And the default mode that we're in is, well, I don't like this, I don't want it, I need to fix it, I need to do something about it. So there's then aversion to that experience, and then there's the desire to move away from it and then fill in the gap with what comes next. Maybe it's drinking a beer, maybe it's having a glass of wine, maybe it's a substance, maybe it's a process behavior, gambling or whatever it might be. Maybe it's seeking another relationship, maybe it's another spiritual book. Like whatever it is, the movement is what is here right now isn't okay, and I'm going to move to try and placate or make myself feel safe. And there's all sorts of different ways that this might happen. So someone might feel insecure or unsafe, and they think, well, if I just saved a certain amount of money, then I'd be able to rest. Then I'd be all right. I'd feel safe at that point. So, that person goes to save money. They're constantly checking their bank account, and that looping behavior just kind of continually happens in their life. And maybe it makes them feel better for a moment. They check their bank balance and they think, okay, I've got enough money for the next month or the next month or two or something like that. But they still haven't really got to the root. They haven't recognized innocently the inherent safety of their psychological experience. So that behavior reinforces itself. It starts to grow and it starts feeding on itself. Or maybe it's having a drink and then having another drink. That was the case for me, trying to kind of escape my experiences of anxiety and those feelings. Well, something really magical starts to happen when we see this in action, and when we open to the possibility that many of the security-seeking behaviours, many of the things we try to do to create the perfect orientation of things so that we can finally be okay, finally rest, that's really not going to open us up to the fact of our psychological safety. The thing that's going to do that is the soft, curious exploration of what's here. It's going to be the recognition that if sadness shows up or if anxiety shows up, if we drop beneath the words and get to know that experience, if we come to understand that if you trace every feeling back to source, you find the one, you find the same thing, you find source, you find however you want to talk about it, you find the principles, you find source, you find God, you find experiencing, you find the fact of experiencing, whatever it might be, pure being, whatever languaging that we use to point to that, we come to recognize the inside-out nature of life, and we come to see the inherent safety of our psychological experience. And as Sid said, that changes our world. And if everybody saw that, it would change the world. So it changes our world in the sense that maybe it doesn't make sense for us to try and save that money for that reason. There's nothing wrong with saving money. There's nothing wrong with buying cars. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. It's the energy that is behind it and the fact that it's not giving us what we're really looking for that means that it perpetuates and it continues. So I wrote a piece on Substack last week called All of Your Behaviours Make Sense, Even the Ones That Don't. I'd recommend reading it. I'll put the link to my Substack in the show notes. But the yearning to return to the knowing of our wholeness, the yearning to return to the knowing of the safety of the human experience, of the unity of this experience, of this, seems to be at the root of everything, even though our outward behaviours have many, many different expressions. And so I just wanted to talk about that today, because I think when we conflate the security-seeking behaviours with safety, we can innocently tie ourselves in knots. And thankfully, usually what happens is we seek through those behaviours for long enough, we try and find that knowing of our wholeness, that knowing of our inner safety through spiritual practices or through reading books or through collecting money or through collecting cars or through drug use or through whoever it might be. And then at some point we're like, it's not here. Like, I'm disillusioned. I'm sick of the whole thing. And we may give up the whole thing. And if we're lucky, we wake up to the fact that it's right here, right now. Whatever it is that's showing up right now is always the doorway back home to the truth of who and what we really are. It's always what's here right now that's back home, that will take us back home to the truth of the safety of our experience. And so to me, this wasn't some coy thing, some nice flippant quote that Sid put out there. It speaks to the human predicament, if you like, the movement away from, I don't want this, and the return to, maybe this is the doorway, maybe the very thing I've been trying to get away from is the doorway into the truth of who and what I am. All right, team. I think that's it. I hope you have a beautiful day. I'm putting together ideas and reflections for a new program that's going to be coming in the autumn. And so if you're interested in that, I'll put the link in the show notes to join the waitlist for that, to get info about it as that comes out. You're very welcome to email me and contact me at any time. And yeah, if you want to have a chat about it, just ping me an email and I'll be there. Have an awesome day. I'll see you soon.